Alright, welcome to part 3 of the synthesis review for tonight. I'm going to go into the next set, which is the third set of the synthesis worksheets I've posted on Edmodo. You can download that as a PDF file. This is page 3. Question 66, the pirates roam the South China Sea. We learned about defending the sea, right? We talked about pirates in the South China Sea. So this question is related to that. The pirates roam the South China Sea. This is very disturbing. Now, it's important to note off the first point that this refers to the pirates, right? So it's very disturbing that the pirates roam the South China Sea. The two sentences are definitely linked, all right? So the problem of what, okay, is very disturbing. Okay, so very interesting now. So what is the problem? The problem is that pirates are roaming the South China Sea, right? Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and change this word to roaming. Because, remember, I'm changing from a verb, roam, to a kind of like a noun, functioning as a noun phrase, roaming, all right? So the problem of, let's go back to black. The problem of the pirates roaming the South China Sea, and remember, South China Sea are proper nouns, okay, is very disturbing. And I want to draw your attention in particular to South China Sea. Every one of these letters has to be capitalized, okay? If I do not, then I will get a mark deducted, all right? Up to 3 errors. In this case, South China Sea, SCS. So the problem of the pirates roaming the South China Sea is very disturbing, right? So the pirates roaming the South China Sea is very disturbing. It makes perfect sense. And remember, we were talking about how rule number 1 is that the question and the answer must be equal, meaning there's no change in the meaning and there's no change in the tense. So rule number 1, check. Rule number 2, check. All right, so good. That's question 66. Question 67. Oliver was so mischievous that he hid his neighbor's shoes behind the pillar. Okay, so out of what? Out of, so I need to change this word mischievous to out of what? Out of mischief. All right, mischief refers to when someone does something for fun and it inconveniences others. All right, so out of mischief, okay, and who is the one being mischievous? Oliver, right? Out of mischief, comma, and I'm going to use the red pen here to highlight the comma because the connector moves to the front. A comma takes its place. So out of mischief, comma, Oliver hid his neighbor's shoes behind the pillar. All right, so again, checking that the meaning as well as the tense is consistent. Okay, all right, I apologize. It's not rule number 2. I should have used rule number 3, all right, for the comma, and I check using rule number 1 and rule number 2. Meaning is the same, tense is the same, okay? So no problems there. I did not miss any elements out. Everything is in order, right? I have my comma. I changed mischievous to mischief. And since we have this word on the screen, I thought I'd point out to you that this word is spelled M-I-S-C-H-I-E-F. And remember the spelling rule, and I'm going to write it here. I before E except after C. So, for example, mischief, in this case, I comes before E because it is after H. However, if I have a word that has the letter C, then the order of the I and E change. For example, let me give you an example here. For example, the word RECEIVE. Now notice that it's no longer I and E, but it's E and I. Excuse me. So that's how you apply this spelling rule. I before E except after C. Okay, so there's C here, so I and E switch places. If this is any other alphabet, like H for example, then I always comes before E. Alright, I hope that's been helpful. If you encounter a spelling word in editing, remember this rule, especially if it involves I and E. Alright, so far, quick recap, we've done question 66. This has to do with changing the word from a verb, roam, into a noun phrase, roaming the South China Sea is a problem, right? Roaming is the problem. The pirates roaming is a problem. Question 67, we have also done. And this has to do, in this case, with changing mischievous, right, which is an adjective describing Oliver, into mischief, all right, which is a noun, right, out of mischief. Then I insert my comma, and then I insert the rest of the sentence. All right, so now let's attempt the final question for this part. Okay, question 68. The opponents had defeated us in the last match. We were determined to beat them this time. The opponents, meaning our enemies or the people we're playing against, had defeated us in the last match. We were determined to beat them this time. So, having been, what do you think comes here? This happened in the past, in the last match. So what happened in the last match? Having been defeated by, who defeated us? Our opponents, right? So having been defeated by our opponents, notice I've changed from the into our. Why? Because they defeated us, so they are our opponents. Okay, so having been defeated by our opponents in the last match, and here I will insert a comma because connector comes to the front. Okay, so this is rule number 3 again. Having been defeated by our opponents, okay, and be very careful of the S here. Okay, just going to make particular note of this S here. Opponents in the last match. Okay, I'm going to carry on, right? We were determined, and be very careful that you copy the words correctly spelled, to beat them this time. Alright, that's it. We've completed these 3 questions. They're rather easy, alright? So use this as a reference. Try to follow through on some of the rules that I apply in solving the questions, and watch out for especially the parts in red that I'm trying to highlight to you, which are common errors, right, that you will make if you're not careful and you're not following the meaning and the tense of the answer. Alright, great. See you in the next video.